Good morning, it's John here. We are up bright and early today because we're just enjoying the garden like we usually do, and I wanted to chat with y'all about Lysianthus because they are such a beautiful flower. They are a summer staple for us, even here in Zone 9B. We can grow roses here in our climate, but I call them the summer roses because roses are going dormant here in the summer months, so having these Lysianthus with their rose-like blooms is such a treat in the garden. We love growing so many different varieties every single year, so I'll show you guys all the varieties that we're growing and some of our favorites. So Lysianthus can be started from seeds or plugs. I always recommend starting them from plugs if you can get your hands on them because the seeds take forever sometimes to get germinated and get growing. Typically, it takes around 10 to 12 weeks from seed to transplanting them into your garden, which is a long time. Usually, most seedlings take around 6 to 8 weeks, so they just take a long time. And second note is that the germination rate is rather low. It's around 50 to 60%. So they're kind of tricky to start from seed. A lot of the seeds that I get in and start from seed are coated, meaning they have a film around them because they are so tiny. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to pop up some seeds on the screen for y'all. But they they can be tricky. I don't know why. So if you can buy plugs, definitely buy plugs in. If you're feeling adventurous, you can definitely start them from seed. Fill up your seed trays with a good seed starting mix, and then sprinkle in your seeds. They like to be surface sown, so just put them on the top. I like to water them in after I sow the seeds, and then sprinkle a nice layer of fine vermiculite on top, and you're good to go. So okay. Lysianthus like to be transplanted in like March or April here in Zone 9. They like to have a cooler start to them so they can get their roots established. We usually don't plant them after May just because it's really hot. And if you don't get your Lysianthus plants established before the summer months, just a little bit, they may not bloom for you their first year, especially in a warm climate. So they will just sit there. They might bloom just on a really small flower. So they might just sit there all summer long and then bloom for you the following year. You'll get a massive bloom the second year, but they might not bloom the first year if you plant them a little bit too late. Um, so get them in the ground early and you'll be rewarded with beautiful flowers come June or July. Typically, when we first plant our Lysianthus, our first year planted Lysianthus, they will bloom for us in like late June into July. And then our second year or fall planted Lysianthus, because you can plant them in the fall, will typically bloom in late May into June. You can get a second succession, like a flush out of them. You just want to cut them back and they will flush back. Usually the second flush isn't nearly as big as the first flush, but you can still get a beautiful show out of that second flush. But we stagger our bloom times mainly by first year planted Lysianthus and second year planted Lysianthus. So we have beautiful, gorgeous blooms all summer long. Lysianthus like to be planted in full sun, so make sure you give them a nice sunny location with at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. We give all of our containers at least 8 hours, more like probably 10 hours of sunlight. They thrive with that. We consistently water our Lysianthus. Right now we're watering them once a day when it's around 100 degrees, but when it's 115, we will be watering them twice a day just to give them a little extra boost. I know they look like a little succulenty with their leaves are kind of on the thicker side, but they do like to have consistent watering. And with that, they like consistent fertilizer as well. So we at least give them a weekly water-soluble fertilizer. We use Jack's just because it's easy to use. You can use Jack's or Proven Winners. Really, any water-soluble fertilizer will do. They just like to be consistently fed. You can also use a granular fertilizer. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I don't use a lot of granular fertilizers, at least organic ones, because my dogs love the smell of it, and they just eat all of our fertilizer whenever we sprinkle it in our pots. So we just use a water-soluble one, and then it gets right into the container and it dissipates right away, and they're not going to dig in the pots and snoop for fertilizer. So that's what we do. Um, and then another thing you're going to want to do is support your Lysianthus. We love using peony cages on all of our Lysianthus. It's a really easy way to support them, especially in a container like we have them in. The circular shape of the peony cage matches the circular shape of the container, which is ideal and perfect in my OCD mind because you're not going to have a big clunky support system that reaches outside of the container. It's going to be nicely contained and absolutely beautiful. And when we tuck them in behind here, they're totally hidden. You can't even see the cages in our container garden because all the flowers in front of them hide the cages. So that's why we love peony cages. There's also, I found like a square peony cage, if you will, that you can put into your like your garden bed. I think that's going to be great if you're a home gardener. I'll leave all these links down below for you guys. And then you can use Hortonova netting if you are a cut flower gardener. That's what we used when we had our flower field full of beautiful Lysianthus, is the Hortonova netting and just some stakes to keep it nice and taut and upright. You're definitely going to want to do this, especially on your cut flower varieties, because they can flop over. These blooms can get massive, and you don't want them to break in your garden and then be sad. That would be that would be really not good. So support your Lysianthus. Next thing is that Lysianthus are actually a great cut flower. So you can use Lysianthus in a vase and they can last so long. You guys, I've gotten 2 weeks out of them. And if you're good about changing your water, keeping them in like a cooler place in your house, they can last maybe 3 weeks. I've seen them stretch a little bit longer like that. I've even put them in the fridge every night, and they've definitely lasted 3 weeks, longer than 3 weeks. But yeah, that's a commitment to do if you guys are interested in doing that. But yeah, they're a great cut flower. They last a long time, so they're definitely worth growing if you want to grow a little cut flower garden. It is so worth it, you guys. I love every single Lysianthus that I grow, and they're just beautiful in the garden. So great cut flower. And yeah, last but not least, these are a perennial. So Lysianthus are I call them a short-lived perennial. There's a lot of short-lived perennials here in Zone 9. Um, and they can last 3 to 5 years with proper care. Um, they go dormant in the winter time, so it's important in the winter months to not overwater them. You don't want to oversaturate the soil and get them kind of root rotted. It's important that they dry out in the winter months, especially when they're not growing. So we put them on the side of our house in like a section. And Kyle does not water them. He does not touch them. I just water them in the winter months, about every, maybe once a week, just to give them a nice hydration. And then I up the watering in the springtime and I up the fertilizing once they start to grow. But yeah, they're not actively growing in the winter months, but okay, so spacing in the Lysianthus is not super important. We usually space them super close together, so about 3 to 4 inches apart, which sounds absolutely crazy for most plants, but Lysianthus don't really grow wide much. They just grow vertically, so spacing them really close is going to just allow them to really put on a really full show for you the first year, which is really, really important. Um, if you live if you're planting them in a container, you want to space them a little bit closer. So I would probably do a 3-inch side. And if you're spacing them on the ground, you could probably get away with 4 inches, and that will be just fine for you. In a 18-inch pot, which we plant a lot of Lysianthus in, we're probably planting about 16 plants per 18-inch pot. And in a 12-inch planter, we're probably going to put in about 8 of them in there. So it just depends on how big the pot is how many you're going to put in each container for you. Now, I briefly mentioned this earlier, but you can actually fall plant your Lysianthus. I don't typically do that because I don't have enough room in my garden to fall plant with all the other things that I'm fall planting. So I usually just spring plant them, but you can fall plant them. Just make sure you don't overwater them, like I mentioned in the winter time. You want to get them established, in October or November, and then just let them sit there. And they should bloom for you at the same time as a second year Lysianthus crop would, typically in like June for you. And yeah, like I mentioned, I don't really do that a ton, but you can definitely do that if you are wanting to do so. We have this beautiful mahogany splendors hibiscus behind it, which is a beautiful backdrop to our Lysianthus. And then we put some smaller containers in the front, like Angelonia, Lysianthus, or sorry, zinnias, Rudbeckias, Solocious, that kind of add a really pretty border. But the Lysianthus are definitely the stars of the show, taking up the whole center of the container garden. Come on, you guys, I'll show you guys all of the beautiful Lysianthus varieties that we're growing in our garden this year. This one's called Blue Chateau, and this one's been with us for about 3-4 years now. It's kind of more of like a beigey tone, but it does have this beautiful like blue metallic color to it. Do you guys see this? Look how beautiful that is. Oh, it is absolutely stunning. I'm obsessed with it. I think they get more blue as they age, but they're really pretty. I don't know if I'd grow this one again. I think I want one that's a little bit more richer, like saturated in colors, but I'm obsessed with it, and it's still really, really pretty. I can see why people are loving this variety. We put it in our blue pot because I thought it would be more blue, but it still works out great. We have, again, like all of them in peony cages. These are getting like super tall, so they're flopping over just a little bit, but we were missing some plants in this particular container. Some of them have died out because it's on its 4th year. So they're flopping over a little bit now because there's a lot of wiggle room because there's less plants in there. So that's another reason to really pack them in tight is you want to keep them nice and upright, and they'll kind of help support each other. Okay, this one's my favorite one. If you guys have been following along, y'all know what this is. This is the Voyage Champagne 3. And the 3 just really means it's the third in the series. So they've been breeding this one quite a bit. So it's the third variant of it. But this one's like more pinky, peachy. It kind of has that really pretty ombre from peach to coral. It's absolutely gorgeous. The older blooms are a little bit more pinky, as you can see, but I absolutely love it. Again, this is on its 3rd year, and we're using a nice, beautiful peony cage to support that one. Next to it is actually a dwarf Lysianthus that I absolutely love growing. This one's a blue one called Julietta Blue. It's super short, only gets about maybe 6. I don't think it's even 6 inches. Maybe it's like 4, maybe 5 inches tall. But Julietta Blue has a compact habit with uh, 2 double blooms on each and every flower. There are 3 plugs in each plant, and this was the one that we did start from seed with you guys on Christmas Day, actually. So love, 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 love her. Again, these are all perennials too if you plant them in the ground, I would say. Well, you can plant these in containers too, but these are perennials and will come back for you. But they're getting a little bit bleached from the sun. They do get that. Some of the Lysianthus varieties I'll show you guys do get a little bit sun bleached here. They might benefit from a shade cloth because of that, but we're not going to put up a shade cloth in this garden just because of the feasibility of that. We do have this one. This one was the first one to bloom, so it's kind of needing some deadheading. But this is the Roseanne Black Pearl. Again, it's a little bit bleached out, but kind of has that darker, more richer, dark purple blooms to it. Absolutely beautiful. We don't have the brown one this year, but this one's still really, really pretty. This is the red one. This is Rosita Red. It's more of like a magenta color. It's more of like a darker color. Do you see that? It starts off this darker color, and if you live somewhere colder, it would probably be darker than this. But the sun actually bleaches this one out quite a bit, so it turns to more of like a blushy magenta, which is still honestly so stunning. I'm obsessed with it, even when it is a little bit bleached out. I'll show you guys another one. We have one over here, this Rosita Red, and it's almost like white because of how much it got bleached out. But honestly, it's still really pretty, and I'm still obsessed with it, so I'm going to keep growing it. Some varieties just get more bleached out, and I don't know what that is, but that definitely happens here. This is Arena Apricot, definitely a staple. I feel like this one's just so vigorous. I don't know what it is. It just always pumps out so many blooms. I mean, they all do, but like this one in particular just pumps out so many blooms every year, and it's absolutely stunning. This one's a green one called Chroma Green. I know it looks white, but it actually has a faint chartreuse color to it. Super, super pretty. This is Megalo Lavender. And honestly, it's cute, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't know why, but each plant, um, each flower color kind of has a different growth habit to it, and I don't know. I just don't know if I love that one. It's still really pretty, but not my favorite. We have another Voyage Champagne. Look at that. Oh, y'all know that's my favorite. Megalo Orange. I think this is Megalo Orange. Yeah, we have two of them. Kind of looks like arena apricot. Some of them kind of all blend in together and look fairly similar. So, you know, I probably don't need to grow all the varieties, but I always do. Kind of like that lavender and the champagne one together. That's really pretty. And in the back here, we have a Voyage apricot. It's kind of blushed out a little bit, but Voyage apricot is in the back there. Super pretty. We're growing more of those this year. Um, and then over here, we have the Arosa champagne. Pretty, kind of that champagne color. I think I would go Voyage again if I were to pick one. Ooh, looks like we had like a caterpillar problem here. I really don't have many pest problems with Lisianthus. I typically don't. There's usually not a lot of pests on these plants. Um, so yeah, that's the one nice thing about it. So this is a Arena apricot, another one. This is actually a first year planted one, and it has gone absolutely gangbusters. This is the first one that's blooming out of our first year crop, and it's like picturesque. Like it's so perfect. Like these plants look so healthy and absolutely beautiful. I love them compared to this one. Like this one, this is again a Rosa champagne. They're not nearly as big, but honestly, they're still really pretty. First year blooming, first year planted one, first year blooming as well, obviously. That one's super pretty. Again, another champagne, Voyage champagne over here. And then we have a few other varieties back here. This is the picket, it's a blue picotee, it's chroma blue picotee, and it has that blue white flower with that blue edging to it. That's what picotee means, is that that edging is a different color. So I think they're cute. I don't know if I would grow them again. This was part of a mix I got a couple years ago, but they're cute. They're kind of a novelty, so I love them for that. And this is, don't judge this area, you guys, it's kind of a mess. But this is where we store Lisianthus pots over the winter months. So these are some that were kind of sick. I think we got a little bit of a spider mite issue on these. We usually never get spider mites on them, but this particular variety and color was just covered in them. And even there's another one in the container garden that has it. So I don't know if it's just the variety that's covered that's like more susceptible to them, but it's just this one variety. It was the lavender one and the white one. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. We're growing a few other ones. This is another champagne one. Y'all know, of course, I need the champagne. This one's Corelli Peach. I have not grown Corelli Peach before, but I'm excited to see this one bloom. And then again, another champagne, because we need more champagnes in our lives. We kind of had a thrip problem on this particular plant. We usually don't have thrip issues, so we're gonna treat that with a systemic, and hopefully that goes away very quickly. And when we need to get peony cages on all three of these before they get any taller, because it's much easier putting the peony cages, these are the cages, on the plants before they get big. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I love Lisianthus, and I will plant them in my garden forever because they are so pretty. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.